Hi, today I'm answering a question I get asked a lot, and that is, am I going to have to resolve all of my trauma? And I'm Rachel McLeod. I'm a mental health therapist, a coach, and a therapist mentor. And I specialize in helping people resolve, doing the brain work for resolving symptoms of anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress. And the brain has a really beautiful process for this. That process can get blocked and stopped and impaired, and then things don't get resolved and things pile up. And it looks like a hoarder's house in there, or somebody who is very behind on their work, and there's dropped balls, splinting plates that aren't working, and we experience those as symptoms of anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress, and all kinds of dysfunction, like our mind going blank and not being able to sleep and all those things. So, we want this process, this brain process, running very, very nicely. That's really the work that I do. Um, and so, but and I help the brain do that by resolving traumas. That's one of the ways that we really do this. So, also, I'm really pitching this video from the perspective, and this talk from the perspective of complex PTSD recovery. And so that is usually my audience who asks this, because they're like, am I going to have to do this for all of my traumas, Rachel? And you know what? The answer really is no. Let's just skip right there to that. The answer is no. You do not have to resolve all of your trauma. I don't know that any of us do. And I don't know that any humans do, not just those of us with histories of complex childhood trauma. And so let me just set you at ease for the rest of this video, not keep you on a cliffhanger. But there is a very important reason why we are processing traumas, and there are three that I'm going to talk about in this video, and and you want these. You want to do this work, and no, you do not have to do this exhaustively and work through every single trauma that has ever occurred in your life. And so but you are going to have to resolve the traumas that your brain needs you to resolve, so that it can then help you resolve dysfunction, create function, and I wrote one more thing down, reach goals. Those are the three important things. If you've got those things going on, if you're resolving dysfunction, creating more function, reaching your goals, you're winning. Your brain is doing fabulous, right? So that's really the goal, is that's really thriving. We're not, as humans, supposed to be doing this whole human thing without any dysfunctions, without any challenges, without obstacles. That's part of the wellness here, is that can you be well while you have dysfunction? Can you be well and work dysfunction out? Can you, all these things with dysfunction, create wellness, create mastery, create function, create all the things we need for wellness, really. And it's not that we're supposed to be perfect or not have dysfunction. And so that's not one of the goals of healing. One of the goals is healing of healing is, can you have dysfunction well? Can you have a growth mindset with it? Or do you turn and just destroy yourself and break yourself down into itty bitty pieces? Do you self-harm during that those issues, and not just self-harm like cutting, but self-harm like emotional and mental cutting, like the lashings of the whip. You're bad, you're lazy, you never get this right. Can we have dysfunction without those things? Can we have dysfunction and quickly put it on a path to creating wellness and higher functions and problem solving? Okay, so that's really what we want to do. And um, I want to talk about this in a couple of phases, because this is really what's cool about this work, is that the more you get your backlog of things done, right? This is why, whenever I'm working with somebody, or I start somebody, whether they are in my using my online program and not working with me at all, or whether they're my therapy clients or my coaching clients, I want to do a broad run through of their life. Basically, if they have all these problem trees, I want to shake the tree and drop all the fruit, the low hanging fruit. We want to get that processed, because we want to clear out, help the brain do as much healing work as we possibly can. This helps us build a ton of skills. This helps us create more space emotionally and mentally. This helps us have some quick wins. It helps people at least think about their brain helping them, because, like, wow, That really was easy. My brain did a really good job with that. Um, Also, it kind of reveals what's left is the stuff that's more complex. Okay. And that's the stuff we really are going to need more advanced skills to resolve. And that's really where trauma processing can come into play. Um, so, I want to explain this well because it's really this is nerd hole. This I'm taking you into the uh, programming world that Rachel lives in. Um, all these areas of dysfunction that are showing up in your life today. Let's just take today. Um, these are all the places that this is the best effort your brain can do in this spot. This is it. This is like your brain is like, I'm doing my best here. This is what I've got. Yes, I know we're freaking out. We got racing thoughts, but this is, and we're snapping at everybody, but this is really the best that I've got. Or maybe where our stomach is dropping, right? All the things. This is what our mind body system can do for us. In there, in that spot, your the programming that's running is inclusive of past memories of yours. And these ones, because your brain is accessing and retrieving these memories in this spot, likely they're unresolved because your brain's struggling with them and it's not doing some really great things with them. In that spot, we can get your brain to say, hey, brain, let's pause right here in this little spot. We might have to back up, right? Maybe this happens at the end of the day. Maybe it's not in the moment. A lot of times people can get skilled enough to really do this work in the moment. And they'll say, hey, hold up here. What's going on? And there are some mind body tricks where you can get your brain, your body, your mind, and your body to tell you exactly which early memories it is that are showing up right here. It's usually one, and that's causing this dysfunction. Because if you understand this from your brain's perspective, your brain is always reaching back to your past to understand and make sense of what's happening now. It's trying to figure out, do I need to freak out? Do I need to run? Are we in danger? Are we safe? Are we not? And so it's got a backlog of data that it reaches for. And those are a lot of times your early memories, your early experiences. Now, if those are already resolved, maybe because you've already done a bunch of trauma work or because you had a childhood where it was pretty safe and your brain was able to work through and process that stuff and really already create function and wellness, when your brain pulls it up, you're going to get health and wellness from those memories. You won't even know that you're pulling from past memories. You're just running and it's good, right? If you have complex childhood trauma that you haven't resolved, your brain is going to reach into the back and pull up this thing. Hey, I know all this stuff about it, but this hasn't been resolved yet. So it still contains the original pain, the original challenges, the original pain, and it's not processed yet. It's not stored in a way that's functional or effective. And this memory will actually probably crash your system and send you into a survival state. And you won't really know because it's running on the subconscious programming. And so that means it's below your level of awareness, below your level of consciousness. So while you're not conscious that these past memories are showing up, your body is, and your mind is, and you're like, and then people are like, whoa, why are you snapping at me? You're like, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm really a nice person, right? And you are. And stuff's going on below your level of awareness that really needs to get resolved. So, if right there where you're snapping at people, we can uh, find get it's really there's a somatic gateway here. That means that the body is always expressing emotion just like we are, and it's in the body's language, so it's in sensation. The sensations of emotions, we call those somatic material, somatic distress, somatic stuff, right? You can call it whatever you want to. That will, um, that can trigger the brain to tell you about all the things it has associated with it. And you can get the brain to pull up the original memory where your brain you first felt this sensation. Okay, it's a very easy strategy. I teach this in part 3 of my program, Inner World Transformation, because I think people should be able to know how to do this with themselves and when it's the right time for them to be able to do it successfully and well and safely. So I teach this strategy. So you're pulling up the original memory, and we're going to assume at this point that it's problematic and it's unresolved because of the distress it's creating in the moment. And so we're going to pull this up to the front to the conscious level, and we're going to start processing it. Our goal is to, if you've watched my other couple of videos, I've talked about trauma processing. Our goal is to resolve the resistance and the pain contained within this. The resistance is really our response to this, our neurological, emotional, and somatic response to the memory. But after we get that stuff resolved, we also want to process the pain stored within this memory. That's the part your brain struggles with the most. Your brain loves all of our events. It's like data. Tell me all the data. Let me read all the data. It's not like, oh my God, that was an awful experience that I never want to see again. This part of your brain does not feel that way. Your pain neurons feel that way exactly, and they do not want to deal with this thing ever again. And so that's really what we're working with. We're working with trying to. That's that's the opposition. We need to get the pain neurons are screaming to your survival system, don't do it, don't touch that memory, right? And so we want to help them, we want to soothe them in the way that they're designed to be soothed, and which is we send them safety signals using the body because they're listening to the body, just like the pain is coming through the body. The We need to send them information. So trauma sessions with me looks like a lot of work with that part of the brain, and I teach 4 interventions for this. They're all mind body interventions. We use the body to send signals of safety to your survival system so that it will allow the rest of your brain to really work with this traumatic event. And so our goal is to get the pain processed. So we're going to help, we're using interventions, we're talking with your survival system. Brains are wonderful at processing and taking the pain out of this so that at the end of the trauma processing, it's just an event like any other event. Like you met your friends at a restaurant, you had a good time, those sorts of things. You took your bubble bath, just as something that occurred. Um, so but when we get the pain processed out of this event, the rest of the brain will jump in here and do all of the magical work. They will help. They will be like, oh, this is, we have this wired wrong. Why are we snapping? This isn't dangerous. They will rewire all of that for you, and then they will create function. They'll take from your morals, your values, your problem solving, your resources, all the great skills you've acquired, and they'll make a new way of being in the moment. Maybe your kid dumped some beads all over the floor. Recent example. um, and normally you would fly off the handle, but because you've worked through this memory that's showing up here, that was exploding and shutting your system down and sending you into a survival state, fight, flight, freeze, faint, and fawn with your kid, which is, you know, not how you really want to show up, not how you've been practicing. All of a sudden, your brain will get in there, rewire that, and you will be able to show up authentically with your child in a way that you respect and you value. And that's really how I help people upgrade areas of their life and then their life entirely. And so we're looking for what's not processed in there. We don't have to go back and do every memory. We have to do what's relevant now. And so that we can help you now be the person you know that you should be able to be. I've done this with people who can't be hugged because of their childhood memories and challenges there. We're working on helping the mind body system um, create function, a new function, a safety and comfort zone with being hugged, because they want to be hugged, right? I'm not trying to make people be hugged that don't want to be hugged, but then they come to me and they're like, my partner's trying to hug me and hold me, and I feel like I'm gonna crawl out of my skin, right? There's a reason for that, and oftentimes it's found in early memories, and we do find that, resolve that, and then they can enjoy those moments because we're actually helping their nervous system um, ex- uh, be present without the old influences, and also to build that comfort zone around hugging. We can help the brain do every part of this, and so um, and then we're able to reach our goals, right? I have a goal. I want to be able to hug my partner, right? Now we're hugging the partner and then we've reached the goal. That's why we're trauma processing. In the beginning, I have people do a bunch of events, um, either easy events, things that happened in the present, or if they're ready, I'll send them to the back to the early childhood years and find some events there, just because I want them to build the skill of learning how to process events. It takes a ton of weight off the nervous system. It's like, if you have a barrel of stress, the unconscious stress is filling the majority of the barrel. And so we want to scoop as much of that out as we can. And so working with events is one of the most traumatic events in the past, is one of the most powerful ways to really get some space in your nervous system, not feel so full, overwhelmed, overloaded, and to just really be able to start feeling safe and open, is working through events. It's really powerful. It's really life changing. That's also why I teach my clients to do this, because we can only do so many in sessions, right? And brains would do this all day, all night. We're not going to do that with brains, but we can do it more than once a week, or twice a week. And so we can, and you can learn how to do that. I teach that strategy in part two of my program of inner world transformation, so that people are moving with their traumas. So, and are able to accomplish them. When I built this out for my clients, I started using it with just my clients, and I really felt like I was cheating, because my clients would come back and be like, "Oh, I resolved this trauma, and then the next day I worked on this one," and then I'd go back and look at the traumas with them, and sure enough, they had resolved it, or they were working through it, they were stuck at a little spot. They could have worked it out themselves, but we're in a therapy session. I am here to help, and so we'd work on that. I'd help build their skills and show them some tricks and ways of working with, and then they'd go back out and resolve more and come back in. So, but when I saw how it created a teamwork within their system, like they started feeling like their brain was on their team, and that they were, that there was more, they I don't know, they're just more resourceful, more collaborative internally. They felt like they could handle more. That was beautiful. And I haven't gone back. Um, and then not only have I not gone back, but now I'm making that available to whoever would like to work with their brain like this. So, having said that, I do want to invite you, whether you enroll in inner world transformation or not, I want to invite you to try to work with your brain in this way. And I teach three of my favorite interventions for this. They're very different interventions. We're doing very different brain work, where we're targeting a very specific part of the brain. But I can teach you these pretty quickly. You can trial them out and see how your brain responds to this type of work. And if you get an intervention, which I don't have a lot of people that don't find a matching intervention, and you find it very quickly, I teach you how to do that in this free intervention, free training called Interventions for Inner World Transformation. And you just get to play around and get to watch your brain do some really wonderful things. If you find a matching intervention, and you want to do this work in a very guided and specific, targeted way, that's really why I've created Inner World Transformation. I didn't have that myself when I was doing my work, and so it took me a long time. I was just wandering around, and after working with a bunch of people, I was like, oh, there's a pattern to this. We don't need to just wander around whacking at symptoms. We can actually um, work smarter, not harder, right? And so that's really what inner world transformation is about. And it's really for people who want to upgrade their life, how they show up in their life, how their relationships are functioning, and how they're reaching their goals. And so that's really what this is all about, especially for people with a history of complex PTSD. But anybody can really take this and do phenomenal things and really just upgrade. It's a very thorough process. So wonderful connecting with you. Thanks for hanging out with me, and talk to you later. Bye.